I mean the alphabet people that Dave Chappelle says. I don't see anything wrong or derogatory about calling us the alphabet people, because there's a lot of alphabets over the years that gets thrown up in LGBTQI. Child, I can't even keep up with it. But there needs to be another number in the alphabet people, and that needs to be S, because straight people need to be added to the alphabet company. And let me tell you why. Just hold on to your seats. There's a lot of straight people that have been behind us, that have protested with us, that have voted with us in order for us to get some of our rights. So I don't want you to think for 1 minute that I don't appreciate my straight brothers and sisters, the black ones, the white ones, the brown ones, the whole rainbow of them, okay? I appreciate my straight people, but yeah, they should be added in the alphabet people too, because they have also been our brothers and sisters and advocates that have helped us. And there's a whole lot of straight people that's on the Supreme Court that voted for gay marriage. Now, maybe a couple of them may be suspect, but that's neither here nor there. I'm here to talk about Dave Chappelle and why I support him. When I go to a concert, I go there to listen to music. When I go to a concert, a comedian concert, I go there to listen to laugh. When in America can't we laugh at gay people? We can't laugh at black people. We can't laugh at Jews. We can't laugh at transgenders. Transgenders and drag queens are some of the funniest people in the world. We've been laughing with them and at them for years. Just like the same thing. You laugh at black people. You laugh at them and you laugh with us. If you can't handle laughter, keep your ass away from comedy's network of people. For example, back in the days, there used to be a whole lot of racism amongst black gay people in the white gay community. This is where I'm going with this. When I lived in San Francisco, and I lived there for 21 plus years, and I lived in Oakland also, about 1 year. But the thing about living in San Francisco, when I applied for a job in like the Castro, which is the gay ghetto, other positions been filled. I have one of my white friends call there a couple of days later. The position has not been filled. Go up, apply for an apartment in a neighborhood, pretty much the gay ghetto in San Francisco, and you find out that it's a white gay boy managing the place. Oh, the apartment's been taken already. I said, well, why does the sign still up? Oh, we just haven't had time to take it down yet. Have somebody call the apartment still available. So there's been racism in the gay community against black gay people for years, especially the transgenders. There used to be clubs where transgenders weren't even allowed in white gay clubs. They wouldn't let transgenders in. They would not let a drag queen in. They would not let back then we called them transsexuals. You know, once you got the operation, you called it transsexual. The transsexual, I have not heard that word in years. I guess they don't use it anymore. I guess the word is just transgender. I can't keep up with the pronoun shit. He, him, she, her, they, binary, non-binary, and all that stuff. Yeah, it changes just like the word black. When we were growing up, you were Negro. You know, you was black. You was African American. You know, it's always changing. You know, so if I forget to call you what your pronoun is and referring to you as transsexuals and as transgender, child, you want to cancel me? You want to cancel me? You know, instead of saying, you know, listen, you know, my name is so-and-so. Just tell me what your damn name is. You know, I don't need the pronoun. Just tell me what your name is, and I'll call you by your name. But I'm going to go back to this whole racial thing. Most black gay people and most black transgenders and whatever else, so they're not mad at Dave Chappelle. You know, it's predominantly the people that are upset with Dave Chappelle are white people, white gay people. Everybody who's complaining that I know of, who's writing articles and what have you and stuff, have been white gay people. And white gay people for years, you know, just because we're gay and they're gay, it don't mean we get along together. It does not mean, you know, I'm not racist now. I mean, you got white Republican gay boys, the Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln Club or whatever they call themselves. But yeah, and so you need to understand where the separation comes into play at. It's that now that you want to be the Caitlyn Jenners of the world, and you want to put on a dress and stomp down the street and look any kind of way you want to, you think people aren't going to talk about you or laugh at you? Child, that happens. You know, I don't mind when people laugh at me. I don't mind when people laugh with me. It's not that big of a deal. It's not ruining me. Nobody is saying that we're forgetting about other transgenders that have been killed. We understand that. We get that. But the majority of them have been black. I don't see a whole lot of people saying anything about that. You know, all those people that are upset with Dave Chappelle, I don't see you talking about our black trans sisters being killed. You don't say shit about that. I don't mean to cuss. You know, I try to keep everything pure and nice. You know, I try to be one of those people on the internet who don't use the N-word, don't use the F-word, and all that other kind of stuff. Both F-words. But the bottom line is, Dave Chappelle has not done anything except open up people's mouth to get them to start talking about all the issues and the racism that exist in the gay community. There is racism in the gay community, and there is, they've been discriminatory towards transgenders for years. So now all of a sudden they want to come out here and jump up and say, oh, what Dave Chappelle is doing is wrong. He's spreading hate. He ain't spreading hate. He's spreading laughter, and he's trying to make you laugh and be educated at the same time. There was this guy, his name is John Blake. He writes for, I think, Ted Turner Network, TBN or whatever. And he wrote an article about Dave Chappelle that wasn't really nice. And so I contacted him online. And so I asked him, I said, John, you know, are you gay? Are you black? Because looking at his picture, you know, he's a red bum. You know, about my color. Sometimes you can't tell what they are. They might be Puerto Rican, they might be from Brazil, they might be Hispanic. You just don't know. So I asked him, because he kept saying we this and we so and so. So I asked him, I said, were you gay and you black? And I said, I'm just assuming that you are just by, you know, your conversation, by looking. And so he tells me, and you know, well, you assumed wrong on both occasions. I shot screened the whole conversation because after a while he deleted our whole direct messaging that was in Messenger. He deleted the whole conversation. And so I said, well, you know, I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, you know, did CNN ask you to write this article about Dave Chappelle, or is this something that you did on your own? Or he goes, well, I don't work for CNN. Well, he used to work for CNN because on his Facebook page he said he works for TBN and he used to work for CNN. Well, hell, I've worked for CNN, but not as a paid employee. I worked for CNN as an eye reporter, not a vetted one where they go out and vet you, and next thing I know, I guess they send you a check or whatever. No, I was well, I still am an eye reporter for CNN. I still write my articles for CNN as an eye reporter. And I told him that, and I guess, you know, he kind of like brushed me off and didn't want to answer any more of my questions. But one of the questions that I asked him before him, I said, well, tell me something. I said, are you Cuban and are you a Republican? Because I know a lot of Cubans vote Republican. The reason I found out that he was Cuban, right before he cut me off our direct message and deleted the conversation, I seen who his friends were, and I seen he had a brother, and his brother on his Facebook page said that he was from Cuba. And so that's why I asked him, you know, was he Cuban and was he Republican? He didn't answer that. But he told me, I didn't delete our conversation. He goes, our conversation has been continued on my Facebook page. So I did. I went over to his Facebook page, and our conversation was continuing on that page. But the direct messages that I had with him, he deleted all of those for some reason. My whole thing is, you know, are you in contact with the black community enough to know that, you know, where we sit on this whole Dave Chappelle issue? None of that was discussed in his article that he wrote about Dave Chappelle, which was negative. You know, all he talked about was Moms May Bleed. He said David Chappelle offended a whole group of people that we're not talking about. And he said Moms May Bleed. He put in there that Richard Pryor was bisexual and openly bisexual, and that's when everybody went off on him. They was like, you know, Richard Pryor wasn't openly bisexual. My whole thing was, I never known him to be openly bisexual. Now, I know he was freebasing and got high. And you know, when people get high, they freak and they tweak. So maybe that was a part of his little lifestyle back there. When he was getting high, he was freaking and tweaking. But the thing about Richard Pryor is that Richard Pryor had a baby by a girl's family that I grew up with. the Mason family, the Mason girls, you know, they was ebony fashion models, and one of them married, she didn't marry Richard Pryor, she had a baby from Richard Pryor, the guy who's the girl, her name was Geraldine Mason. I said, well, let's pull Geraldine Mason into the conversation and see what she says, you know, but Geraldine didn't come in, and she didn't, you know, she didn't bite into it, and she didn't say anything about that, you know, she never even joined the conversation. But I'd never known for Richard Pryor being openly bisexual, but he brought all these black comedians up in his article that were evidently either gay, transgender, bisexual, whatever, and I was like, what does that have to do with the whole Dave Chappelle issue, what these people's lifestyles were, and how did he offend them? I mean, how in the hell did Dave Chappelle offend Richard Pryor? I just don't get it. And Moms Mabley, you know, were you just trying to out these people or something? You know? Anyway, and then the network, Netflix, their employees walked out. They made it sound like, you know, 100 people walked out. You know, I didn't even realize they had 100 people that was transgender working for Netflix, even if they do. It's like if you want to walk out about somebody who's paying you over comedy and you just don't get it, child, walk out. Take your asses to wherever you got to go. We're going to continue laughing about gay people, black people, and transgenders. In San Francisco, we would go to drag shows all the time, and the transgenders would come up in there, and some of them would look like cement. What is cement? Hard. Walking like they got combat boots on, dressed up like they threw a wig up in the air and just cut it on the head, and walking down the street looking in all kind of way. Yeah, we would laugh at them and talk about them. They know they looked a mess. We laughed and talk about them all the time. And you white gay boys would not allow them into your clubs. Talk about that part. You know, please, people, try to understand that, you know, you can't group all gay people together. We are not a monolithic group of people. We don't all think the same or act the same. We don't all support the same things. We know that there is racism in the gay community against blacks, and here's the white mainstream side, okay? Sometimes we can meet in the middle and we can get things done. That's why we got HRC. You know, we support them. You know, they were the main ones who helped, you know, funnel the money into these attorneys so we could fight for same-sex marriage. And I've been a member of HRC. Me and my husband have been a member of HRC for years, and a decade or more. My whole thing is that if you don't like people giving you freedom of speech when it's done in a comedy kind of way, just don't go. And let me say this also to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, I know you're smart enough to know this. For everything that comes out of your mouth when it comes to free speech, there's consequences. We can say anything we want to in the world. I can say anything. I can talk about drag queens. I can talk about abortion. I can talk about all those subjects. I can talk about, you know, boys who go shoot at their families who got white moms and dads. I can talk about child molesters who the majority of them are white men. But for me saying stuff like that, there's going to be consequences. People are going to write me and they're going to inbox me and they're going to give me all kind of comments saying, you just can't say all white men are child molesters. No, I can't. I can't say it. I can't say it, and I don't agree with it. Because they're not all child molesters. There is black men and Hispanic men that are child molesters, granddaddies, uncles, brothers, sisters. All of them are child molesters. Everybody can be there. But the majority of them, it seems to come from mainstream. You feel me? So anyway, there's consequences for everything that comes out of our mouths. So, we got freedom of speech, but you can be sued for what comes out of your mouth. So if people are upset about what other people is coming out of their mouth, then you have the right to sue them. But it seems really stupid for you to sit up and watch a show for an hour and a half and you're offended by it. So you're going to sit there and just be offended for a whole hour and a half. Click the channel. Don't watch it. But David Chappelle, you're funny. What are these other comedians are saying, especially that woman who sounds like her name is Gapsy or whatever. I don't even know who the hell she is. But she's chiming in so she can probably get some clout. Anyway, I'm for David Chappelle. Keep on making us laugh. Netflix, do what you do. And one more thing, Netflix. I need you to check out my girl, Lunell. Lunell's all right. Talk to y'all later. Peace. This is Mychaeltodd giving you my 2 cents.